Well, D-Rose, StreamYard has officially cooked this. Took away our intro video, man. It is gone. It is gone. If I want to play it now, I have to upgrade to upgrade to the paid version of StreamYard. So no more intro. That's dumb because I was getting set up, man. I was getting ready to go, but I go to click on the little intro video. It says share a video clip. The free plan comes with one example video. If you'd like to share your own videos, please check out our upgraded plans. StreamYard cooked me, D-Rose. StreamYard cooked me. No more intro here on the Golden Octagon for the podcast. Unless I start paying for this shit. Maybe one day I'll start paying for this shit. Who knows? Who knows? With that being said, welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. My name is Matt D. Rose on that cyber screen. Yeah, wow. What a way to get this show started. You know, we're usually here with the welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. And not this week, zero of that. So rather boring start to the show. Surprise, surprise. Hello, D-Rose. We're here. How you doing, brother? We're live now, whether you know we are or not. We are live. How you doing, man?
Hey, it is that was that was pour one out for the intro song, man. That was shocking to hear you reveal that. I'm not gonna lie, I'd see the live thing going on for a couple of seconds, and I'm waiting for you to give your spiel, and then we slip into the intro, and I'm watching, and I'm like, what's going on?
Start it? Like, is he gonna start it?
Is there something? Is there a lag? Did he get disconnected? Because I know last time you said you lost internet, but yeah, that's not a great way to start, man. That's and that's definitely like whether people believe it or not, like that's actually like kind of like a pick me up to get a start. You know what I mean? Pour one out for the intro, man.
Yeah, man. I wish I would have noticed like before I started, but I have the thumbnail up and then I click the intro and then nothing happens. I'm like, what's happening? And then I read the little message. So no intro music this week. Sorry, y'all. I do apologize, man. Maybe I'll have one ready for y'all next week. Anyway, with that being said, on today's show, what we are going to talk about is really quickly, we will recap UFC 317, but it was 2 weeks ago, and it's been 2 weeks ago now. Me and D-Rose did a live fight companion for that, so if you want to see our live reaction, feel free to go back and watch UFC 317. But what a card that was. We will move on to our UFC news and announcements. And then lastly, we'll end off the show with our UFC Nashville, Derek Lewis versus Teixeira, our preview and our picks for this weekend. But with that being said, D-Rose, how have you been over the past 2 weeks now, my guy? And let everyone know what's happening bright and early in the morning, man.
Yeah, a little bit of a bridge gap from the last time we've been on till now, but glad to be back. And yeah, things have been great. I'm on vacation this week, so doing the episode on a Tuesday here. We're heading out to good old Virginia Beach tomorrow, so I'm gonna be up towards Matt's neck of the woods there. And the reason why we're doing it on a Tuesday, just going to be doing a lot of running tomorrow and getting settled in. And I'm going to have my kids and my nephew there with me, and getting all situated and settled in and everything. It's just gonna be a lot of running tomorrow. So I just didn't want to have the kids constantly, running around and out and stuff like that. They'll start getting restless after a while and everything. So it ended up working out for the better to do it today. But still glad to be back. Be heading up your way this week. And looking like this weekend we're going to do a live stream for Derek Lewis versus Teixeira as well. Don't miss that. We will be live for the card this weekend as well. So
that's like fucking StreamYard. It's like, hey, you used too many hours this month. You gotta upgrade the plan.
Waiting on some like as soon as you get there, like all of a sudden, like StreamYard's going to have like a big red X like on the website, like access denied this week. I'm waiting on some BS like that at this point, but hey, we still gonna watch the fight together regardless. So.
Yes, sir. With that being said, we appreciate you for stopping by here, hanging out with us here tonight over on the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. I'm just missing words now. If you don't mind, hit that thumbs up button for your boys. And dude, let's go ahead and get into the show real quick. We got Antoine here. Pretty much that's the only president here. What's going on, Antoine? How you doing? But we have to digest the history that took place. Did Ilia become an all-time great UFC 317? Yeah. Let's go. Can't wait to watch y'all's live strips. Yeah. So D-Rose, let's get into it. UFC 317 recap. Man, Elia came out there and just smoked Charles, dude, in the first round. I guess if you go back and watch the live stream, I was confident that Charles was kind of pushing Elia around the octagon a little bit and then just gets booped on the chin, dude. And just Charles just melted, dude. And we all knew that, that was an option. We all knew that could happen. Everyone that was a Charles fan knew that could happen. And man, Elia doing what he has done now, Volk, Max moving up, Charles. Dude, if he wins two fights at lightweight, dude, I think it's hard not to call him the greatest of all time, dude. Just by completely undefeated, no blemishes, coming in here and just smoking these fools. Yeah, he didn't smoke Josh Emmett, all right, but I mean, that was a beatdown for all 5 rounds. So with that being said, man, Elia is an absolute force. I don't know who's beating him. I know a lot of people will say Patty can beat him. A few people say Justin Gaethje can beat him. Man, at this point, I don't know, dude. I've picked against Elia 2 times. Once was this past weekend. I picked Charles, and the other time was against Thug Nasty, dude. And both times, I just after the fight, I'm like, well, I was wrong. Well, that was wrong.
Why did I pick against him?
Dude, I have no idea. What's your thoughts on the main event, man?
Yeah, scary knockout from Elia there. That was so. I mean, I picked against Elia in his last 2 fights for Max and Volk. I had picked Elia up to that point, but I was like, he's up at championship level. These 2 guys. Volk. I was like, hey, Volk's looking to get some get back, and Volk actually had some success in that fight, but of course he ended up hitting the death touch. Elia did, and then against Max the way he did, knocking out Max the way he did was what made me feel confident that he was going to do the same to Charles Oliveira. And Elia even said going into the fight that, hey, Charles Oliveira walks into the punches. He's going to do the work for me and set it up. And honestly, that's exactly what Charles did. Charles was fearless, stepping forward. He even landed a nasty step-in elbow early in the fight. Kind of, caught Teixeira right in the mouth. So it was a nice little shot. But just in the end, just too much damage just coming on the side of Teixeira. Even for him to get that crucifix was crazy. To get that position on Charles Oliveira is nuts to begin with. Then you add on to the fact that, he got the position in a pretty dominant position. Charles got the leg locks, but Elia got up. And once he got up, he landed that jab to the body, jab to the head, and set up that right hand with that left to follow, and just a nasty combination to put Charles out. We haven't seen Charles put out like that before either. So that was even, the scariest part was, Elia hitting Charles like that. We've seen Charles quit. We've seen him get
dropped. Yeah.
We've seen him get dropped, but we haven't seen him get flatlined like that. So to see him get flatlined, that was definitely a sight to see, and what a performance from Elia for him.
Life has not hit him harder. That's one of the hardest he's been hit. Like the shirt that says "Life's hit me harder." I don't know about that time, Charlie.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty damn close, dude. Between who's hit you harder between Elia and Life. That's that's a neck and neck race there. But I mean, Charles is the OG. We'll always respect him, and I still think he'll come back, and I still think it's going to be a lot of dudes that Charles can beat out there. But just Elia at this point right now, he's just going to be a tough guy to beat.
Yeah, man. After this, now how cool would have Islam versus Elia been? Just man, I would love to see that fight now. Yeah,
that's like it would be cool, but I'm still going to say it. I still do believe that Islam wins that fight, and I'm not going to say easily, but I'm one of the people who actually understand why Islam was like, so I got to beat another 145er. Like, is that all who I'm going to fight for my championship reign? Like, I want some type of challenges. So even though Elia, we see him obviously as a different challenge, that's not a different challenge for Islam. You know what I mean? It's just the same thing that he's done twice already. And one, the featherweight he did beat was arguably the greatest of all time before Elia stepped in. So, I can understand why Islam wouldn't want that fight. I would still favor Islam, but I do admit that, just that possibility of Elia landing that death punch would be super fun.
We got Army of Nugs stopping in. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's up?
I think Elia has the hardest hitter. For sure. But Elia undefeated, KO to lightweight. Yep. All right. I guess that's it for the main event. So let's move on down to the co-main event, which is also a title fight. Brandon Royval. Alexandre Pantosia versus Carr France, dude. Man, Pantosia just went in there, and if I'm gonna be honest, he made that shit look easy. Went in there, took Kai down, took the back, choked him out, man. It's like what was it? Third round submission, 1 minute 55 seconds. Dude, I've been saying this for ever since he's gotten the title. I don't know who's going to beat Pantosia because he's already beat everyone on the way to the title that maybe had a chance. So it's like we've already seen all these matchups. Everything's going to be like a rematch unless there's this new force that comes in. Unless he gets caught by the Tatsu Taira, like whenever he finally gets a title shot, dude, I have a hard time seeing anyone beating Pantosia right now. I know the Josh Van fight's scheduled, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But even that fight, it's just like I don't really know where Josh Van beats Pantosia outside of just out voluming him. And I can just see Pantosia. He's gonna get you down, man. So tough fight to see. Anyway, what's your thoughts on Pantosia versus Carr France, and then we'll talk about the banger of the night in Royval versus Van.
Yeah, a guy in Kai who I'm a fan of and was definitely rooting for, and I tried to be a little sneaky and pick Kai for the upset there, but Pantosia left nothing there for Kai to get a hold of. And it was just so much offense getting thrown at Kai. Like Kai didn't have a second to settle down because it was just constant pressure. Combinations, long punching combinations, ending his combinations with the leg kicks. And to keep whipping Kai's leg like that, like 2 or 3 times, like after his combination was beautiful. And then for him, I think it was one of those last times where, he throws a leg kick again, and Kai goes to pick up that leg. And then Pantosia basically tackles him as soon as Kai picks up that leg because Kai's on one leg preparing the check for a leg kick. And then he's just getting ran over by Pantosia. It's just offense on top of offense that nobody can stop. And once that dude gets you on the ground, especially when he gets your back, it's just, it's over at that point, just in terms of what he can do. He's got, some of the best control in the game. Now he's, marrying that with great striking. He's not the best striker, but just his constant pressure and offense and just almost kind of like now I've made the comparison before. Pantoja and Dricus remind me of each other so much just in terms of their style and how they're just straight offense, and it's so unorthodox and it doesn't look normal, but it's just something that's going to be effective for them. And it's just something that Pantoja's just got that key to with that pressure, offense, and just he's relentless, man. And I'm with you. I don't really know who beats him out. I would give Josh Van like a glimmer of a shot, but outside of him, man, I just don't really see it.
Yeah, man. I get it, but let's go on down to that fight. Josh Van beats Brandon Royval in the absolute fight of the night. Both fighters got their, show and win purse for this fight because it was an absolute heater. Both dudes, Josh Van and Brandon Royval, just went in here, pulled down their pants, and just slung dicks for all 3 rounds, man. That was a banger of a fight. I think over like 400 strikes thrown or like landed, one of the two. But Josh Van does get the nod there at the end. Josh Van does win via decision. And after the fight, Josh Van squares off with Pantosia in the next fight. And then news came out today, and we'll talk about it in just a minute. But the reports are Mareno versus Royval 3 is happening at UFC Nashville this year, too. So looks like both dudes already have a fight booked, dude. A little quick, right, for all the damage that they took in that fight. What, 2 weeks ago now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very quick. A lot quicker than what I thought too. But no, it was a great fight. And Josh Van, I mean, for him to come in, and I told you that, going into the fight, I was like, just 3 weeks notice against Brandon Royval, because, I said it too. Royval's a guy I've counted out, I don't know how many times. I was like, man, I can't keep counting the guy out, especially, he's a veteran, taking the guy on 3 weeks notice. And for him to turn around like that, Josh Van, and to put on a performance the way he did, I mean, I know a lot of people will go to that third round and say that was the deciding factor, but, and even in the first round, like, Brandon Royval was having a tough time landing on Josh Van. It wasn't really until the second round where Brandon Royval almost was just like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to hit this guy without getting hit, so screw it. He's going to throw one, I'm going to throw three, and we'll just see who's going to land the more damaging shots. And, Royval, like, his face is so puffed up after the fight, like, he almost looked like a raccoon or like a skunk. Like, his face was just like, he was just like kind of like frisked up like this. But no, just all that scar tissue just built up, man. But such a fun fight. And both those guys delivered. I love that Dana had paid them both out their show and win money. I mean, I think that's something that not a lot of fighters are going to get, but for both of those guys to go out there and put their heart in their sleeves the way they did, I mean, I just, that's for me. I know I don't want to be in too much of a recency bias mode, but I think you got to get that fight the fight of the year so far. I know we were just talking about Nazim Sadikov and Nicholas Moda, but I think the difference is the 1.5 rounds versus the 3 rounds of just violence between Josh Van and Brandon Royval, and both guys giving it their very last bit of effort to the last second. Brandon Royval getting dropped in the last second, leaving himself exposed because he went to throw a step-in knee. But they're both just taking shots and trying to do their best to win the fight. And that's what made that, for me, the fight of the year so far.
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. So let's move on down to Benny D versus Renato Moicano. Benny D burned all of us and then told us he loves Jesus right in our faces. That's just what it is.
Yeah, he toasted it for sure. Rough fight for people who are backing Dariush. I mean, as these are 2 guys that I root for, so I'm happy to see Dariush get a win, especially coming off of 2 brutal KO losses when he was that close to getting the title back. But yeah, good win for Dariush. Unfortunate for Renato Moicano, but I think a guy like Moicano, he's funny enough to where, and he's still good enough to where his next fight, people are going to be interested in it, and he's funny enough to where he even said he's not going to stop talking in the press conferences, and that's what that's what we love about Renato Moicano. He brings the entertainment to the mic, so. And especially with that, man, I'm not gonna lie. I have watched that video of him making fun of Sean Strickland, like probably at least 10 or 15 times. Like, yeah, that had me absolutely rolling, dude.
He's like walking in there.
Yeah, dude, Moicano's so funny, man. Like, I always love the dude, man. Win, lose, or draw, I always have love for Moicano.
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. And moving on down to the opener of the main card was Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima, dude. Where Peyton Talbot looked good, showed improvements in the takedown defense. I said it going into that fight. He was eventually going to get this vet lesson by someone, and I'm glad that it was Hani Barcelos in just getting wrestled opposed to gassing out going into the third and just getting smoked Mike Breed and Angelo Jubilee style. That's a little bit different of a fraud check, if you will. This one, it wasn't too bad. You just kind of found out your skills aren't up to par and you need to get back to it and work on it. And it looks like Peyton Talbot did that. Comes out, wins a 3-round decision over Felipe Lima and pretty much secures the rose, eating the beans for the most part. But, if you guys want to talk about the beans, we can get to that in just a few moments. But what do you think of Peyton Talbot and his performance over Felipe Lima, man?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good performance for Talbot, a good bounce back performance. And, I had even mentioned before the fight that I didn't think that Talbot was going to be able to make the necessary steps from his last fight to this one to improve on his takedown defense, and he 100% did that. And he defended the takedowns well, even had a couple moments where he had good sweeps against Lima, and he was able to get top position, able to get some ground and pound off like he did at the end of the 3rd round there. I think the thing for me that I underestimated in Peyton Talbot, he's got a little bit of a dog in him. Like, he was taking some shots. And there at the beginning of the fight, I mean, in that 1st round, I mean, the reason why I thought Lima won was because Lima was landing some big shots. He landed a spinning back fist. I think he landed a head kick. Didn't bother Talbot at all. Talbot, great chin, great composure. he even got knocked back a couple times when he had Lima backed up against the fence. Like he kind of got knocked back a couple steps, and then he just right back on the pressure, right back in Lima's face. So I think that's an element of Talbot's game that I didn't necessarily take into account. Like I knew he was kind of a front runner, but that let me know that, hey, Talbot can get hit and still stay composed in the fight and still stick to the game plan for the most part. Stick with that forward pressure, backing the guys up against the fence and land his big shots. And I think someone even said, and I didn't see actually anybody say it, but I think somebody has translated that Felipe Lima said something to the effect of, hey, Talbot hits hard. Like, yeah, that's kind of rough that, you're admitting the guy's kind of hitting you hard and you're in there going for panic takedowns. So it wasn't a good sign for Lima. I still think Lima's going to be good going forward, but that let me know that he can't really be a nail as well as a hammer versus, hey, Talbot showed he can take a lick and still keep it moving. So yeah, good performance from Talbot.
Yeah. Hey, Talbot good at backing dudes up, huh?
Yeah.
How'd you like the control he had there in the third?
Yeah, I saw Frank Ocean was jealous of that too. So yeah, that was the part that that really threw the ruffle in there for me, was seeing Frank Ocean post the picture too. I'm like,
Antoine, they need to look into that just a little bit more, Antoine. Let's look into that a little bit more.
Yeah, they are chill.
I've seen Peyton Talbot on Frank Ocean's Instagram a whole lot, like cooking dinner and shit like that. It's like I'm not gonna say 100%, but I'm like 80% sure they've been together. They are together. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, with that being said, prelims, we're going to run through these real quick. Hobo Cop smokes Jack Hermanson, and that was Herb Dean's fault, yeah?
Brutal. And killed us on both of our bets, because we were both pretty high on Jack Hermanson, too.
Yeah. Oh, man. Hyder Mill, Jose Delgado. Well, I think we both had that one to start round 2, maybe over 1.5, maybe even to go to decision, because we're like, man, both these dudes are tough as hell. Both dudes swing their dicks, but both dudes are tough. And we were only wrong on that by about 4 minutes and 40 seconds. I mean, sorry, by about 14 minutes and 40 seconds.
No, exactly, dude. That was rough. I mean, I only had, of course, none of my bets hit. I only had one parlay that had Jose Delgado money line. I kicked myself endlessly because I was like, why was I so confident at playing the over 1.5 when I had money line, and money line was the same odds? And then the money line on Jose Delgado came down to 136 on fight night. So I'm like, I could have just stuck with Jose Delgado money line and I would have been perfectly fine. But that's the dude I told you, a couple different times. Yeah. I'm excited to watch him. He's a brutal
fun finisher. Fighters, dude.
Yeah, dude, he is a brutal finisher. Like when he has somebody hurt, he goes in for the kill. I know some people were saying that stoppage was a little bit early with Hyder Emil, but dude, that follow-up elbow, like you've seen that, right? Like, dude, like him to fall with the elbow, almost Dan Henderson like to fall with the elbow with the follow-up shot. That was a great stoppage there, and hell of a performance from Delgado there.
Indeed. Tracy Cortez, Viviani Araujo. Tracy wins that via decision. T-Rex smokes Slava Klaus in the first rounds, dude. Goes out there, hits Slava with a knee tap, takes his back, and wraps up the rear naked choke like that, dude. It was 55 seconds into the first round. We know T-Rex is capable of it. We knew that was a path to victory for him. Thank God I went T-Rex this week, because I did have a few bets for Slava KO 2-3, but I knew if T-Rex won that fight, it was going to be in the first round, and it was probably going to be by ground and pound or sub. And sure enough, he gets the round 1 sub there. Anything, man?
Yeah, just a hell of a performance. Good bounce back from Terrence McKinney. I didn't expect him to get it done in that fashion. Like, for him to just completely run over Borshev. Because Borshev is a dude who's very good at defending submissions. And he went from that anaconda, and then he kind of reversed it to that mounted guillotine. And the way he had that locked up on Slava Klaus, dude, give Slava Klaus credit. Dude, he fought for as long as he could. in that
He was
submission.
doing the Marab kick.
Dude, trying to kick for dear life, trying to hold himself up. But yeah, it was a wrap, man. Such a beautiful finish from McKinney.
Yeah. I may have said fucking rear naked choke there, but it is what it is. Anyway, our fisting of the week cashes. Jacoby Smith over Nico Price, dude. I forgot that was even on this card. This feels like so long ago now, to be honest. Janata Janice wins over Alvin Hines via decision, dude. What's your thoughts on Alvin Hines? Did you see him fight?
Yeah, I did. He had a little spunky attitude with him. I liked it. I mean, do I think that he's going to be, a great heavyweight or something like that? Yeah, jury's still out on that. But is he going to be a guy that, hey, he might be pretty fun to watch in his fights? Sure. I mean, yeah, he could be a little bit of a who was the heavyweight? Was it Carlos Felipe that I used to like
the one you liked? Dude. Yeah, like the fucking chunky dude that was.
Yeah, he was always kind of the boxing dude. Yeah, he was kind of just like that's who Alvin Hines.
Jelton Almeida's teammate that he always wants to get back in the UFC. He's like, hey, getting no. Left Michael Morales or I think fucking Michael Morales is fucking teammate.
I can't remember whose teammate it is, but that's who he kind of reminds me of. Like, is he going to be that good? No, but he's got a little bit of a dog mentality to him. He brings a fight. And Alvin Hines, yeah, he definitely brought the fight. There was a couple of times where Denise just landed on him big time. It was one where Denise landed a head kick. It was a beautiful head kick in the third round, and Hines' head just snapped around, and then he looks at him, he just goes and just blows a kiss at him after he just got completely crushed. So I'm like, you know what? He's got a little spunk, a little attitude to him that I can definitely see fans being excited for him in the future.
All right. So that is it for the card. We did have 5 different picks on this card, right? Let's see here. It was Ewert McVeigh. That one fell off. So it turned to Slava versus T-Rex, Emil versus Delgado, Talbot versus Lima, Pantosia versus Carr France, and then Dubronx versus Elia. So the 5 different picks for the bean eaten this week was T-Rex versus Slava, where I went T-Rex. D-Rose went Slava. Jose Delgado versus Hyder Emil, where I went Hyder Emil. D-Rose went Jose Delgado. Peyton Talbot versus Andre Lima, where I went Peyton Talbot. D-Rose went Lima. Pantosia versus Carr France, and I went Pantosia. D-Rose went Kai. And that's already 3 for me. But, just to make D-Rose feel a little bit better, main event was Dubronx versus Ilia. And I went Charles. D-Rose went Ilia. So I win 2 of the 3. D-Rose is supposed to be eating some beans this week. I did say it on the live stream. I think people called D-Rose out as, fake eating the beans, swapping out the beans at this point. And at this point, I don't even know if they're real anymore. So D-Rose, I'm gonna let you eat whatever you're eating over there if you want to, I guess.
This is terrible. And for y'all to think that I'm just going to continue going on this losing streak for kicks and giggles at this point, man, we are. Oh man, I gotta cleanse the palate here.
Do you think StreamYard took away the music from us too? Let's see.
What's that?
Do you think they took away the music from us too?
Man, it seems like they did.
Here, let's see. Hey, they didn't take away the music from us. D-Rose eat them Starburst jelly beans.
It's the bean box. And it don't stop. And I don't want to do this anymore in this bullshit. Okay, this one won't be as bad. Stink bug or toasted marshmallow?
I love how you're so confident that it's not going to be bad, dude. Stink bugs taste pretty bad.
I haven't had. You know what? To be honest, I don't think I've had the stink bug.
It's almost like you just know it's not going to be bad.
This one should be too bad.
D-Rose dropping subtle hints.
Toasted marshmallow. We'll keep rocking. Okay. Hey.
We ain't seen Matt fill a plastic bag in a minute. It has been a little bit.
It's been at least.
It's been like a month.
4 or 5 weeks now?
Yeah, it's been at least a month. So, I mean, probably 3 fight weeks with time off. Yeah. Confidence is concerning. All right. Let's see. Bean 1.
Should I? You know what? I'm going to do y'all a solid. There's Blue. And we know, come on, man. Like, Blue's going to be a pass. Like, I'm going to make it through clean. We're going to take it and we're going to throw it back.
There's like, I need this one on a worse week.
We're going to throw it back.
It's going to be on top. It's going to come out still.
And nah, it was toasted marshmallow stink bug. I ain't going to do that again. No.
Burnt rubber or licorice. You don't like either one of them.
No. Oh, no. It's bean bop.
It ain't gonna taste like butter.
And please stop.
It's burnt rubber.
And I got my bag. Shit, man, it's so ass.
No, he's picky. He's big. Licorice, be licorice. I just want it to be It's either burnt rubber or licorice. One of those. You don't like either one, so that's a win for us.
It tastes like cough medicine.
I don't think there's any faking the black jelly bean.
Oh.
It's bad either way.
Oh.
That face right there is a good one.
Dude.
One eye open, tongue out. I wish I would have got a full screen of that. I would have clipped it and used that as your thumbnail picture from now on.
Oh. Dude, it literally tastes like cough medicine.
Do you know what's fucked up, dude? I used to love those. I used to just look for just this.
You're a psychopath. Like, you're a psychopath.
Like,
there's something wrong with licorice at all.
I don't know. Black licorice used to be my thing, dude. I don't know why. All right, D-Rose. With that best taste in your mouth, let's get into our UFC news and fight announcements. That's foul. I'm sorry. There's something wrong with me.
Yeah, you need to be taken to a mental facility immediately.
Dude, fucking Jeremy used to ask me, what do you like eating, ass? You know, fast forward, about 10 years. It's pretty common.
You're like, well, my taste buds really didn't change. I still like eating ass. They say every 7 years your taste buds change, but mine didn't. They stay the
same. Oh man, that's so funny. Fair play. Oh goodness gracious. My eyes are watering a little bit today. I'm laughing. It was the licorice beans tied with the ass eating. Just brings the tears.
So I'm marrying the two together. I mean, to be fair, man. I mean they both taste absolutely awful. So I mean, let's be serious.
Just like hand the guy from experience, both taste terrible.
Yeah. Brother, let me tell you.
Let me tell you, brother. All right, man. I can't stop laughing now. Oh, man.
Goofy, man. Disgusting. Disgusting.
Dude, I haven't laughed that hard in so long, man. I'm crying, dude. Oh my
man,
I'm dying over here, man. Okay, oh man,
That's funny, man. Being an ass eating, that brings it on home, man.
All right. Speaking of ass eating, let's get into our UFC news and fight announcements we have with the first fight. We got two dudes that look like they don't mind a little. Never mind. I'm not gonna do it. We got Kevin Holland versus D-Rod taking place, D-Rose. This will be UFC 318. It is in the works. What's your thoughts on this, man? This was originally scheduled for a long time ago, and then Kamzat ended up fighting Kevin Holland on that card.
Yeah, there's one thing that I know for either of these dudes, they probably don't have a problem getting in that ass. So I think yeah, good scrap. Again, freaking Hamzat was the one who ruined it last time, so
it's like we all of a sudden get a comment from D-Rod UFC. I prefer strawberry. like what?
I thought it was only one chocolate starfish.
Oh my!
I didn't know there were multiple flavors. Oh, this one chocolate.
Yeah. Anyway, what's your thoughts on this one, D-Rose?
Yeah, like you said, freaking
like I can't lost.
Done threw me off now. Done threw me off. Yeah, freaking Hamzat was the one who ruined this last time. But yeah, well, hopefully this fight can end up being pretty decent. D-Rod looked good in his last fight against Ponzinibbio, and Kevin Holland's been looking good as of late, so should be a good scrap.
Indeed. We have an update on the Reaper, D-Rose. Well, that was Friday. Just kidding. Anyway, here we go. We have T-City, Brian Ortega, taking on Funkmaster Aljamain Sterling. This will be the co-main event for UFC Shanghai, August 23rd. D-Rose, what's your thoughts on that?
Such a weird-ass card. Like,
the whole card's weird. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, you could have them in Vegas fighting on a pay-per-view that's, they could be the headline of the prelims. They could be the opening bout of the main card. I mean, you can have these guys anywhere, but you have them at the co-main event in Shanghai. Just a weird matchmaking in terms of where they're at. But I think this fight actually should be pretty decent because I think, both guys pretty good at grappling. Interested to see, when it goes to the ground because I got a good feeling that it's going to, who's going to be dominant in those positions. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that's a good scrap.
What happened to T-City moving up to 155, right?
Man, I told you he was not going to move up to the 155. He's not a big 145er, dude. Like, he's not that jacked at 145. I mean, imagine, him going up to 155 and fighting somebody like I feel like even Dan Hooker would be much bigger than him. Or, Mauricio Hoopi or, even like a Bahamondes.
Jalen Turner.
Somebody like that. Yeah, he to me, he would just look significantly smaller where, he's not the biggest featherweight either. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he just got a lot of skill, but I never,
what we need then?
I've never seen him as like this weight bully at 145.
You know what we need then? We need him to fight Gene Silva, and then he'll fucking go down to 135 like everyone else.
Yeah. That is, except for Drew Dober's the only one who has not made that cut just yet, but that's because.
But he fought him up at 155.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Joan Silva has not decided to move up to 155 yet, and I haven't heard Drew Dober moving back down any. So let's hopefully he stays that way.
Yeah, we got a fun one here, dude. You're a fan of one dude. I think we're both fans of I would say we're both fans of both of these guys. We got Elvis Brenner taking on Esteban Ribic, except for UFC Vegas 108. Why are they putting this in the fucking Apex, dude? Anyway, should be a banger of a fight, though, yeah?
It should definitely be a banger. Is the Apex going to be open by then in August?
It's UFC Vegas 108, so I mean, okay. I guess so.
Yeah, then that might, maybe that's the new opening for the Apex, because remember, the Apex is supposed to be more renovated to where more people are going to be able to sit in there and all this stuff. This is just what has been rumored, but hopefully it could be a little bit more of a live environment, because these two guys, they absolutely bring it. Going to be a dogfight from both guys, and I'll definitely be excited to watch that one.
Indeed. A few of you excited for, or Albino Manatee is excited for Ortega Sterling. Antoine saying this is going to extend Aljo's career, or he will retire soon. Jeff saying they should have put this on Chicago, and Dave letting us know that T-City dropped the bag. Oh man, indeed. That's going to be an absolute banger though. Moving on up, we have I don't know if this is expected. I would have thought this was going to Abu Dhabi for sure, D-Rose, but it says right now is expected to take place MSG in November. What's your thoughts? UFC 321, Jack Della versus Islam. Man, the noses on these two dudes, it's like a match made in heaven.
And no, JDM looks in the mirror and wants Islam's nose. Like that's the difference. Like JDM looked at that and was like, "Man, I wonder what it's like to breathe correctly through my nose. Like I will never know what that's like ever again, because now I just breathe with my nostrils smashed in all the time. Like I don't know how like JDM doesn't have cardio issues with the way his nose is so smashed in, but yeah, I did hear Islam actually say in an interview the other day, I believe I heard him with Mike Vaughn, that he said that he would actually really want to fight at MSG. It's a place that he has not main evented yet, and he's main evented Abu Dhabi a couple of times.
Okay.
While he would want to main event Abu Dhabi, New York is something that he's always had a dream of, because where Russia is very heavily populated up in New York as well. So that could be a place where Islam, might not necessarily be home field in terms of the place where it's at, but there's gonna be a lot of people there supporting him.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we'll move on to the next one. What's your thoughts on, once Patty got in the octagon with Elia, and then in the post fight, Dana was saying that he was not happy that happened, because that's not what he wants to happen, I guess. Anyway, give me your thoughts on that. I'm gonna run and grab something to drink real quick.
I mean, I'll be completely honest. I think that I kind of feel the same way. I mean, I never felt like Patty. I always felt like Patty was one away from getting the title fight. It just doesn't seem like a win for Michael Chandler, who, let's be honest, at this point, I love me some Michael Chandler. I watched him in Bellator a lot, but pretty washed at this point. I don't think getting Michael Chandler off of a pretty decent losing streak is good enough to earn Patty a title shot. The division is just so stacked right now to where you can pick, you can pick a lot of different guys. Most guys would pick Arman Tsarukyan, but a lot of people don't like Arman, or don't like the way that he went about the Islam Makhachev fight. So a lot of people are holding resentment towards him. Versus, I think with like Ilia, he's going to be a guy who has a lot of star power. He's going to be able to try to call his own shot, and he's going to try to call for Patty, because Patty could potentially sell. But I just don't. For me personally, I am with Dana. I don't think that's the fight. Dana tried to kind of backtrack his comments there initially in the press conference and was like, well, Ilia's wife and kids were in the octagon at the same time. So, I don't think it should have happened then or whatever. And it's like, for me, I don't think we even had to throw the family thing in there. It's just not the fight to make, in my opinion. Although it would be fun. Patty's fun. He can sell a fight. He's great at doing that. I think it's got to be Arman, or worst case scenario, I think second fiddle could be Gaethje. But I just don't think Patty needs it right now. And I guess for me, the fight's always there. I guess that's my.
Fucking come on, lad, you chorizo. You Spanish sausage. You Spanish sausage.
When we know that these guys don't genuinely hate each other.
Dude, I actually think, dude, hold on. Real quick, now that you said that. Dude, I think literally Elia and Patty don't like each other. Like going in this week, like Elia said multiple times, I wish this wasn't Charles. Like, I actually like him. I don't want to do this to him. Same thing for Volk. Same thing for Max, dude. Elia does not like Patty. Like, they've had like some like Twitter beef for a long time. Like, apparently, like fucking Patty said something about fucking Georgia, and he took like huge offense to it. Went up to him, yeah, and then like all that shit fucking came out. So they really don't like each other. If Elia does this to dudes that he likes that he doesn't really want to knock out, imagine what he's going to do to fucking Patty, which he does not like, man.
Now, I guess for me, and look, they're going to be respectful for each other anyway. But even like when they saw each other out at the one of the Australia cards that was just not too long ago. Yeah, even then, you know, Patty and Elia were in the same room with each other, and they dapped each other up. Like, if you have genuine dislike for one another, like you can go in the same room and have respect for one another, but you don't have to acknowledge one another. I think even if you do that, that's like, okay, like these dudes really don't like each other. There's bad intentions there. For me personally, I just think that with Patty,
I didn't see that, so I guess
it was on the card when Toporia's brother fought. Man, I cannot remember dude's name.
Fucking, I remember his name. Fucking Cody.
No, Lebanese or something.
No.
Or...
Fucking, what was it? God damn it.
Yeah, it was Volk's teammate, but it was on that same card when Toporia's brother fought, and Patty had a teammate fighting on that card, and Topuria was standing off in the background, and Patty walks up to Topuria, and they kind of like
Colby thickness. The thickness.
There you go. I was like, yeah, it was something stupid. I couldn't remember the name, but Patty and Elia dapped each other up there at that weigh-in. So yeah, I don't think there's any genuine bad beef. They're going to be good to sell that fight, but I don't think they're going to. I don't think they genuinely hate each other like they're trying to pump it up to be.
Interesting. Yeah, I would have believed that they actually don't like each other, but that's just me. Anyway, D Rose feels different about it. Moving on, we have I guess another one that came out from Jerikas that we already kind of know isn't true. So Jerikas, it came out in some kind of video. It got leaked. He said that Patty versus Justin was the co-main event for UFC 319, and then Patty came out, I guess, after the fight this past weekend, or not, after UFC 317, it was like, use our fools if you think I'm fighting in August. So I guess that is,
if you think I'm fighting in August,
for sure not happening. And then this one right here, Pantosia versus Van, but we kind of already talked about that. Yeah, man. I guess. Is this the fight that you think happens, or what, man?
I think that's the fight that needs to happen, if I'm being honest. Okay. And another thing too, you know, I told you about it the other day. Topuria is not a guy who's looking to put his foot on the gas here and just jump right back in. So I could very well see this fight being in, I don't know, MSG or something like that, and then Ilia Topuria decides to come back in, I don't know, let's say March of next year. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to take 7-8 months off, and these two dudes end up fighting again. Let's say MSG, because I know Justin Gaethje really doesn't like to fight outside of the states. So let's say MSG in November, and then they turn around in March and fight Topuria. You know, both of them. You know, winner goes and fights Topuria. So I like that fight better. I think it makes sense for the division. But it's just hard telling. There's so many moving pieces. It's just really hard telling what's going to happen next.
Indeed. We also have a fun one scheduled for UFC Noche. We got Raul Rosas Jr. taking on Rob Font or Fob Ront. So this is UFC Noche, September 13th in San Antonio. What's your thoughts on this matchup, man?
Wasn't Rob Font booked against somebody else initially?
I don't know, man.
Song Yudong, maybe?
I think they tried to rebook that. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I felt like he was booked against somebody else, but yeah, I think this would be a decent fight, and if I'm being honest, that's a tough fight for Rosas. That's a big jump up for somebody who.
Dude, it's just that Rob Font gets taken down so easily, and he's got chi-wee-wees.
Yeah, but we've also seen Rosas just like fight for dear life to hold a guy down, and Rob Font. I mean, his takedown defense is not the best, but he's got decent takedown defense. And dude, if he's snapping Raul Rosas with a jab a couple times in that uppercut, I could see it making a little. I could see it making a little tough for Rosas there. So,
dude, as we're going through these, you know what I think would be the perfect fucking matchup based off of how like fights have played out kind of recently. No matter what happens this weekend, give me Mike Davis versus T-Rex, dude. I don't know why I'm like, I want to see that fight. Mike Davis versus T-Rex.
Two dudes you like. I'm surprised you want to see two dudes you like fight each other.
I think I might, we kind of talked about it a little bit before the podcast, and we'll get into it on the fucking pick section, dude. But I don't feel great about Mike Davis, dude. He just, something tells me he's done. So, yeah. So that's just how I feel. But anyway, kind of a little preview. Let's get back to the news real quick. See what else we have. We have a fun one that actually is the co-main event for UFC 319. It is Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. This was originally scheduled before Jeff Neal pulled out, and then Carlos Prates fought Ian Gary. But we get this fight now for UFC 319, and I'm excited for this one. Hopefully, Carlos Prates can get back on the winning streak, take Jeff Neal's number 11 spot, and slowly move up the rankings at welterweight. What's your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, it's a fun fight. Again, this fight was originally supposed to happen before Jeff Neal had the injury. Prates had the little setback against Ian Machado Gary, but still put up a good performance in that fight. Prates did, and almost finished Gary there in the 5th round as well. So, good performance from him. Jeff Neal's a guy, crispy boxer. Prates is with that Muay Thai style, the heavy on the front leg there. But that should be a good scrap for as long as it lasts. But I could definitely see somebody going out in that fight.
Yeah, man, for sure. All right, let's see what else we have here. Dan Hooker said he wants a fight on the MSG card in November. That'd be cool.
I like it.
Here we go, dude. We got for Noche as well, Brandon Royval versus Brandon Mareno. The fight number 3 has been verbally agreed for UFC Noche September 13th. Do you think this fight happens, man? Seems a little soon.
It seems a little soon. It makes sense in a weird way. Like, I think it actually makes sense for both guys, but I mean, for me, it does seem like I could see Mareno potentially taking a different matchup. But I like the fight though. I would like it if it happened. And Royval, I know he hasn't been as active as he typically likes. So having a fight of the year contender, turning around, if he can get a big win, he's got. I would say even Royval losing, his stock didn't drop that much to where if he goes in and beats a guy like Mareno, he's right back up at the top of the division. So I think it's a good fight for both guys.
Yeah, man. I bet Brandon wins that though.
Brandon should be able to get it done. I would have to say.
All right, dude. And the last one I have also for UFC Noche, we got a banger here. We got teammate of Diego Lopez, Alessandro Costa, taking on Edgar Chavez, dude. What's your thoughts on this matchup? Because I know both these dudes might even train at the same gym, man.
That's an interesting fight because I do think that both guys kind of have like similar styles a little bit. I would say Costa is a little bit
just
better
a different body type.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, very, very much different body type. Where Chavez is the taller, kind of lankier guy, and Costa's kind of like a short powerhouse type of fighter. But Costa, good power in his hands, good boxer. And I think, for Chavez, he's got pretty decent hands. His hands came along in his last few fights, so he's definitely looked a lot better with the hands. And yeah, I think that should be a really good fight. For the person to put the Snoop Dogg Who up there, like, come on, dude. Like, these two dudes have been in the UFC for a little bit now and have put on some pretty fun fights, especially with Edgar Chavez. And Edgar Chavez, I would say, is a guy who I've continuously doubted, and he's gotten better each fight. So I think that should be a good scrap.
Yeah, man, I agree. And that is the last bit of news that I have. You have anything that we didn't talk about, Deros?
What did you think about? Do you think that the UFC will actually make a move to the White House with the news this week that Donald Trump said that he wants to try to have a full UFC event next year, July 5th, to celebrate the country's 200th.
This is the closest that we'll get to it being at the White House. This is the closest it will be. Are you ready? We get UFC where the Wizards play or the Capitals play. That's the closest thing we're getting to UFC at the White House. Because you got to think about this. Trump said he wants it on the White House lawn, right? Timeout right there. When has Dana ever let someone else announce something aside from him? He killed Ariel's entire life for announcing fucking Brock Lesnar fucking coming back, right? So he's already not a fan of people announcing shit outside of him doing it. But I understand a pass could be made for the president of the United States. Okay, cool. But the thing is he wants it to happen next year, right?
Yeah,
250th anniversary. So you got to think you're going to build entire infrastructure, seating, bathrooms, concessions, all in a place that doesn't exist yet within 1 year. And then anyone that even comes close to there has to have so many background checks and everything done, dude. It just seems it seems like a little much to have it at the White House itself. Why not move it to, is it called the United Center? Wherever the Wizards play, wherever the Capitals play, to just move it there. 30 minutes down the road, man. Everybody can drive by and see the White House and wave on their fucking the way to the arena, dude. How about you, man? What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think it's tough to make happen. For me personally, I don't see it happening. I mean, some people seem to, there's a good chance that it happens, and I hope it does. And I think it would just be a weird experience because it would be one of those. I think it would have to be outside as well. So if you're going to do a UFC event outside, you got to make sure the weather is going to be right and all the travel logistics and all this stuff, and the way that the White House is armored down with people who, top flight security, Craig, top flight security of the world.
Craig.
I mean, you got those types of guys on the White House lawn, and then you're going to get a bunch of crazies like MMA fans coming up in there. You just don't know what they're capable of, dude. I personally don't see it happening as well, but thought it was pretty interesting to see people kind of go back and forth on it this week, to the point to where even Conor McGregor and John Jones said they would come out of retirement to make the fight happen.
Yeah, man. Seems a little far-fetched to me, but that's just me. Let's see. I would love to see it. Just don't think it's possible. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Crazy. 10 a.m. What? Crazy money just in security measures. Yeah, it just kind of seems like UFC 321 is at 10 a.m. Why is it at 10 a.m.? Was it in China or some shit? Where's 321 at, D-Rose?
I was gonna say, where's it at? 321 or 10 a.m.
I mean, I don't mind that's at 10 a.m. That's actually
I do.
All right. Well,
I work all day Saturday.
Let's see, UFC 321. I mean, you got plenty of time to take it off. It's going to be in Abu Dhabi, so probably October.
Oh, so it'll probably be freaking.
Yeah, it's the October card, dude. It ain't nothing new. They do this shit every year. You usually take that day off.
Had me kind of tripping there for a second, thinking it was going to be. If I had to guess, it's probably going to be Magomed and Alex, right? So I mean, I already saw that fight once. I mean, it's probably not going to be that great of a card.
Do you think they get back to the Sphere? Probably not. Probably not. I could see the Turkey dude kind of fucking making his own Sphere over there and them kind of doing the same thing there, but it was a little much to do it in Las Vegas, and I know that, and a lot of people couldn't afford tickets to go and such. Oh, one other thing that I want to talk about. What's your thoughts? Have you seen it, D-Rose? There's a few dudes golfing, right? And there's this dude just getting thrown around and punched in the face and then thrown in the water. Have you seen that going around?
No, I have not.
All right, let me see if I can find that real quick. But anyway, there's a pro hockey player, right? And apparently there's some kind of dispute that they're having in this. Here we go. Perfect. How do I send this to myself? Can I send this to myself? Oh, cool. I can. Perfect. So I just send it to myself and we can just watch it here because I want to get your thoughts and opinions on this, man.
I think I might have seen like a screenshot of it because they was like, oh yeah, it turns out to be an NHL player. And I saw somebody grabbed by the shirt. Like that's all I remember seeing. But I did not watch the full video in its entirety.
Yeah, here we go. I got it pulled up right here. All right. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Hey, man. Come on, man. Hey.
Full shirt is just some like fucking drunk dude that like he's bothering him.
I got it all on record.
And look at him. He's coming back for more. What cracks me up the most is he grabs his shirt and while he's punching him, he says bang.
Bang! Bang! Come on, man. Bang! Enough! Enough!
Look, here he comes again. He's coming back.
Fighting like a hockey player too, like holding by his shirt.
Dude, when did you learn your lesson? Dude, like it's like, dude, this dude is like 3 times the size of you.
You literally got thrown in the water. Like at that point, take your L. Or at least take your shirt off. Like he clearly keeps grabbing you by your shirt and then whopping you in the face. Like, dude, do something. Like, but quit getting grabbed by your shirt like you're his little brother and just getting slapped around. That's crazy.
Dude, the funniest part is he grabs his shirt, he goes, bang, bang, bang. He's yelling bang while punching him in the face.
He sounds like NBA commentator Mike Green whenever somebody makes a 3. He's like bang, like he's in there commentating his own shots. Like this is crazy.
Yeah, that's what makes John Jones so crazy. He's never experienced that. I think so, Dave. I think so. All right, D-Rose. Did you guys see street fights in middle school and high school? Yeah, we We're the fights we saw on our school bus, D-Rose.
Yeah.
Like just on a school bus alone was like probably more than most people had their entire school, dude. It's like once a week there was a fight on our school bus.
Yep. Or somebody causing some type of tear or havoc or something like that. But our YouTube was definitely that's a YouTube. Our high school and middle school was definitely full of nothing but fights, and we witnessed many a plenty, hanging on the top of lockers and stuff like that, looking down, chick fights, dude fights, chicks beating up dudes,
like people getting kicked down the steps, dude. I remember I don't remember who it was, but I just saw someone go tumbling down like 2 flights of steps. Like they went down the first one, rolled, and then went down the second one.
Like a basketball, like damn.
Guys, yeah, it was back in the good days when we didn't have to worry about shit. My school stopped having pep rallies due to one of my fights. Oh no, Dave. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Anyway, all right, D-Rose. That's all the news that I have for the week. Let's go ahead and get into this card for this weekend because we've been here about an hour already. We should probably step on it. D-Rose got to hit the road. What time are you leaving in the morning, D-Rose? To head
probably like 10 a.m. So nothing too crazy.
Okay. Not too bad. So let's go ahead and get into the card. Am I sharing it? Indeed, I am. Wrong page though. Share this tab instead. Here we go. So this upcoming weekend in Nashville, Tennessee, we have UFC Fight Night. Derek Lewis versus Taliesin Teixeira. Prelim start at 6 p.m. East Coast time. It's going to take place at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. We do have 12 fights to go over. main evented by Derek the Black Beast Lewis taking on Towson Teixeira. In the co-main event is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson taking on Gabriel Bonfim. Featured fight of the night, we have Calvin Cater taking on Mean Machine Steve Garcia. We have Nate the Train in the UFC, baby, taking on the Last Pirate Morgan Charrier. We have Vitor Petrino moving up to heavyweight to take on Austin Lane. He probably has some of the worst hair I've ever seen in my life. We've got Junior Tafa taking on Tuco Tokos. We've got Chris Curtis moving down to 170 pounds to take on Max Payne Griffin. So Action Man versus Max Payne there. We have Jake Matthews taking on Chidi and Joe Kawani. We have Lucky Lauren Murphy, 42-year-old Lucky Lauren Murphy, taking on Eduardo Mora. We have the African Savage, Kennedy Nzechukwu, in his third heavyweight fight, taking on the Clean Monster, Walter Walker. We have Beast Boy Mike Davis taking on the Fight Stalker Mitch Ramirez. And the opening fight of the night is training partner in and out of the bedroom of Aaron Blanchfield. And her name is Fatima Klein. She's going to be taking on Super Melly Melissa Martinez. Yeah, man. Doesn't look like any fights fell off this card, which is pretty cool, right?
Yeah. And funny enough, as I just realized it, last year, in her UFC debut, we watched Fatima Klein, or as I like to call her, Fatima Silva, in person. And now we will have the privilege to watch her again, Fatima Silva, in person this time.
Because she fought Jazz, right? Jazz last year?
On short notice, weight class. Yep. And she is now back a year later. And we're going to be back at, well, not the same Airbnb we were at last time, but we're going to be back together watching her live again, man. So what an experience.
Indeed, man. So that is where we'll start, is on the first fight of the night is Fatima Klein versus Super Melly Melissa Martinez. Let's go ahead and get that one off the screen. Let me make sure we are sharing this one. Indeed, we are. And let's see. Also, did you guys see what's been going with the Liver King? I stopped tracking it once he went to jail and then got out and was still acting like a lunatic, Antoine. I'm like, oh, okay, this dude's just looking for attention at this point. Do you know what he's talking about, D-Rose?
Yeah, I do. I believe we might have mentioned it to each other for a little bit at least, last week. But yeah, the guy seems like he's kind of off his rocker right now. So, you hate to see that, but I don't know what it is with the dude, but yeah, I know he's had it out for Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan basically called him out for, taking steroids and not being natural and all this stuff. But I mean, dude, just let it go at this point. You have no fame. Your claim to fame is eating raw liver, and you're so natural, and now your stick is busted, and now you want to try to take it out on Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan will just flat out kick your ass too. So
yeah,
you're not doing anything, because you're going to be small. You're going to be one of the few people who are actually smaller than Joe Rogan. So don't go pick on a dude who's going to be bigger than you and knows more ways of fighting than you do.
Yeah, just crazy, man. Just crazy. Just looking for attention. But let's get to the card for this weekend. Let's get our banner changed. UFC Nashville Lewis versus Teixeira, preview in our picks. D-Rose, look at my shirt from the future. Already got the locks, man. I already know what happens. Do you have a UFC Nashville shirt? It happens this weekend. How do I have it already?
Matt got the script.
I got the script early. So let me let y'all know what's happening this weekend at UFC Nashville. First fight of the night, we have Fatima Klein taking on Super Melly Melissa Martinez. The Archangel Fatima Klein is 7-1 overall. Her last two fights were in the UFC, a loss against Jazz 11 months and 3 weeks ago, and 5 months ago, a TKO win over Victoria Dudakova from Guard. Anyway, Fatima Klein is exactly 25 years old, 5'6" and a 67-inch reach, while Super Melly Melissa Martinez is 8-1 overall, also had two fights in the UFC. Split decision, or I'm sorry, a loss to Elise Reed, where, dude, if we're going to be real, Elise Reed ragdolled Melissa Martinez, and that's not a good look at all, because Elise Reed cannot grapple at all, but she did against Melissa Martinez. And then Super Melly did beat Alice Ardolian via decision 8 months ago. Anyway, Super Melly is 27 years old, 5'2", and a 67-inch reach. Odds for the fight, D-Rose. Minus 1,200 for Fatima Klein and plus 750 for Super Melly, Melissa Martinez. Yeah, man, with the odds the way they are, do we even really need to break it down to pick the minus 1,200 favorite? I guess here's, dude, is it late TKO or is it decision or is it submission late? It's either TKO sub late or she ends up. Super Melly is just tough enough to last via decision, but it's how do you bet this fight, if at all? Do you bet this fight, D-Rose?
I mean, if you're betting this fight, you're really, man, you're really pushing it, or you're just trying to get like, I mean, you're going to have to do like round 3 to start or something. I mean, because even then, I don't know how confident I'd be on that either, because it's like, that's also sketchy. So I don't know, man. I'm not betting on this fight. I know that.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, I'm gonna go Fatima Klein round 2 TKO ground and pound. What's your best read for this fight, man?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of led into it a little bit with talking about, Martinez, her getting wrestled by Elise Reed. That's kind of what I can really see Fatima Klein doing to her, and maybe
I think she's out there every night wrestling Aaron Blanchfield, getting wrestled back by Aaron Blanchfield in the gym, out of the gym, 24/7, just triangles.
Exactly. Yeah, they're using their Stanley steamers against one another when they're fighting. So yeah,
is that a wrinkle? They're using their Stanley steamers. I've never heard that before.
The Stanley steamer carpet cleaner, baby. The Stanley steamer carpet cleaner. But yeah, let's. I'm not even gonna poke around. I'm gonna go Klein by decision. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the 3rd round TKO, kind of like a late stoppage. But give me Klein here to get it done.
All right, me and D-Rose both on Fatima Klein. Moving on to the next one, we got Beast Boy Mike Davis taking on the fight stalker Mitch Ramirez. Mike Davis is 11-3 overall out of his last 5 fights. He has lost 1 against Farcem 5 months ago and then won 4. But I mean, they goes back, dude. If you're having 5 fights in almost 6 years, dude, you don't fight very often at all, and that's for sure Mike Davis. 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, year ago, and then 5 months ago. Anyway, Mike Davis, 32 years old, 6 foot even, and a 72.5-inch reach, while the fight stalker Mitch Ramirez is 8-2 overall out of his UFC fights. He lost to Carlos Prates on the Contender Series, got signed to the UFC, went back out into LFA, got a knockout, then got signed back, and then got his legs kicked off by Thiago Moises a year and a half ago. Mitch Ramirez, 32 years old, 5'11", and a 71-inch reach. Yeah, D-Rose, I kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. Dude, Mike Davis scares me. We talk about this every time he fights, about how he says that he doesn't want to fight. He just does because he's good at it. And it makes sense because he doesn't fight often and this and that, so much and so forth. He's injured all the time. But one thing that came out this past week, and I heard in an interview, is that D-Rose, he has Lyme disease and has had Lyme disease for a couple years now. And that is apparently why he keeps getting injured, because Lyme disease makes your joints and tendons really, really weak. I guess a lot of people know that Jim Miller had fucking Lyme disease for years, finally got over it, and then just came in here and started snoozing fools. But apparently Mike Davis going through kind of the same thing. He said in his last fight, Farcem put down some shoulder pressure on him, and his knee gave out, man. So not a good look. I don't know how healthy Mike Davis is. The whole paint fumes fucking situation too. It just doesn't look the best in the world. And I don't know where Mike Davis is truly at, if I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know if he wants to do this. Is he showing up for a paycheck? What's going on here? I just have absolutely no confidence in him at all. But apparently some people do, because he's currently minus 1,000 favorite, and Mitch Ramirez is plus 650. Over under here is 2.5. The over is plus 140. The under is minus 180. D Rose, I want nothing to do with this fight. I guess I'll pick Mike Davis round 2 submission. But dude, I'm not betting on this fight, dude. Which way are you going here?
Yeah, I'm not betting on this fight either. And I mean, honestly, enough for me to just pick Mike Davis is to see Mitch Ramirez get absolutely plastered by Thiago Moises by leg kicks. Like,
Yeah.
I picked Mitch Ramirez going into that fight, and to watch like the first 30 seconds, Thiago Moises land like a couple of leg kicks, and then all of a sudden you see like Mitch Ramirez like not limping immediately, but basically limping immediately. Yeah, my hopes went right down the drain as soon as I saw that. So I just can't tend to pick a guy who kind of just wilted that easily. Where Mike Davis, you know, he can get into a little bit of that dog fight and bring the dog back. But I just think that you know, I am with you in terms of that inactivity. You know, him just fighting just once a year, pretty consistently for a while now.
And Antoine saying he's fighting twice this year so he can get fucking both halves. So it's a fucking paycheck. That's the only reason he's fighting 2 times this year.
Yeah, no, and that was gonna be my point to say that, like, yeah, he's taking the second fight now, and to me, it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable picking Mike Davis, knowing that, hey, this is his second fight this year. He had a good fight against a tough opponent his last time out. Farzam's a good fighter, so it's not a bad loss that he had. I just thought it was a bad matchup. I think this is a good matchup here for him. I think Mike Davis gets it done. I'm gonna go second round TKO.
All right, me and D Rose both on Mike Davis. Moving on to the next one, we have the African Savage, Kennedy Nzechukwu, taking on the clean monster, the cleanest of them all, Walter Walker. Kennedy is 14-5 overall out of his last 5 fights. Standing guillotine to Devin Clark, lost by knockout by Dustin Jacoby literally a year ago at the last Nashville card, or almost 2 years ago at the last Nashville card, because I was at that one, watched it live. Anyway, this one, dude, the OSP lost, dude. I'm just gonna say it like that. And then moved up to heavyweight. Chris Barnett pulled his hamstring, so I guess TKO there. And then the Lucas Dretsky fight 6 months ago, but you know, Lucas been getting snoozed by a lot of people at this point. Kennedy's 33 years old, 6'5" and an 83-inch reach, while Walter Walker is 13-1 overall. His only loss ever is to Lucas Dretsky via decision. He is 27 years old, 6'6" and a 78-inch reach. D-Rose, the odds for this fight are minus 205 for Kennedy Nzechukwu and plus 170 for Walter Walker. Over unders 2.5, minus 110 for the over, minus 120 for the under. I guess I'm gonna pass this one to you, man. What am I? Well, I'm gonna pass this one to you because I'm gonna let you know who I'm gonna pick here because I don't understand something. What am I missing with these odds, man? If I am clearly on the Walter Walker side here, I think he should clearly be the favorite here. I would say this is Kennedy's first real heavyweight that he's fought so far. And has an excellent ground game. Who has Kennedy ever fought that is trying to take him down that's successful? The odds right now are throwing me off. I am clearly on the Walter Walker side. Probably my dog of the week here. Yeah, what am I missing, D-Rose?
I guess the thing is, you know, Walter Walker, you know, he's had some pretty good wins in his last few fights. I mean, I know he had the win against Tafa, you know, pretty decent submission.
And fucking Dontel Mays, both in a row.
Yeah.
First round heel hooks.
But I would make the argument that both guys are not UFC level. I mean, I know Junior Tafa's fighting this weekend, but let's be honest. You know, is he really even a heavyweight? And
down at 205 now.
And Dontel Mays, you know, that's, you know, you named them don't for a reason. And, you know, at this point, it could be don't fight anymore because, you know, nobody's really that interested in watching Dontel Mays. I just think for me, I think, obviously the higher UFC experience is Kennedy. And I just think the better athlete and the better striker. Now, I think it's clearly striker versus grappler. Kennedy can grapple, but that's not his strong suit. His strong suit is keeping it in range, using his teeps. He's got pretty good jab. It's pretty decent using his range. I just think that Walter Walker is a big dude, a natural heavyweight. He's not going to be some guy who's just beefed up, a couple pounds and didn't want to cut down to 205. Like, Walter Walker is going to be a legit heavyweight.
He's actually lost weight because I remember against like fucking Dresky, like he fucking came in like 265 on the dot and was a little heavy, so probably cutting down like 265. In his last two, like he came in like 240 something.
Yeah, but I think being that light is going to have an advantage for Kennedy because Kennedy will probably get in there about 236, 240, somewhere around there. So they'll probably weigh about the same, depending on how the weight's distributed between the two. But I think the speed advantage will be on Kennedy's side as well. So I'm going to go Kennedy and ZHQ by decision. I think this is going to be a very boring fight. I'll just tell you that right now. But I think Kennedy gets it done by decision.
All right. Well, I'm going the opposite way, D-Rose, and I'm going for it not to be a boring fight, and I am going for it to happen the same way that the past two have happened. I'm going first round heel hook submission for Walter Walker, because he's been doing it. Why jump off now, dude? What's the difference in Kennedy and Dontel Mays? Besides, Kennedy might be a little bit smaller of a guy. He might get it done easier. Who knows? Who knows? I'm going the dog here, Walter Walker. Me and D-Rose split there for the first time of the UFC Nashville fights. Moving on to the next one, we've got Lucky Lauren Murphy taking on Eduardo Mora. Or Eduardo, that's a dude's name. From the neck down, you could tell me it was a dude, and I'd believe you. I'm going to be honest. But anyway, Eduardo Mora, Ronda taking on Lucky Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy is 16-6 overall out of her last 5 fights 4 years ago. Who the fuck is that? Liliana Sharakova? I have no idea who that is, D-Rose. Does that even sound familiar?
Not even. Who is it?
Lilia Sharakova.
I have no idea.
Me either, dude.
We watched UFC for a while. We obviously had the running joke with Lauren Murphy, the junkyard dog, like JYD, but I have no idea who that was.
Anyway, 4 years ago, split decision win over Joanne Calderwood or Joanne Wood. She did lose the balance. Do you remember when she got the title fight, dude?
And got absolutely worked like a summer job.
Dude. And then 2 years ago, Miesha Tate drops down to 125, and it was really surprising to me that she was able to stuff Miesha Tate's takedowns and just kind of box Miesha Tate up. She ends up winning that one via decision. And then 2 years ago, 5 months, Jessica Andrade beat her within an inch of her life, dude. And after the fight was over, I think like Andrade fucking came out and said that she broke both her hands in that fight, just punching Lauren Murphy. And I believe it, man.
Lauren Murphy,
yeah.
Hey, JYD for a reason.
Yeah. Lauren Murphy's 42 years old at this point. 5'5", 68-inch reach, while Eduardo Mora is 11-1. Her loss is a split decision loss to Denise Gomes a year ago, and then she did beat Veronica Hardy up at 125. So weight class, she did move up in. She is 31 years old, 5'6", and a 66-inch reach. D-Rose, this fight is so tough for me to call because at a glance, it's easy. It's Eduardo Mora, right? She's currently minus 625, the favorite. Lauren Murphy plus 455, the dog. Easy one, right? Just pick the big favorite here. My issue is in the Denise Gomes fight against the 115er, dude. Denise Gomes was, shucking takedowns and kind of boxing up Eduardo Mora here. And that's basically what Lauren Murphy did to Miesha Tate coming down from 135, dude. So Eduardo's moving up from from 115, and we've seen Lauren Murphy able to stop takedowns from bigger girls being 135ers. What throws me off, dude, is fucking Lauren Murphy's 42 years old. Like, if this fight was 2 years ago, I think I would 100% without a doubt pick Lauren Murphy. But just being 43 years old, 42 years old now, I don't think I can get to it. And I think this is about to be some fucking boring shit. We're going to see Eduardo Mora landing about 1 or 2 big strikes per round, just getting enough damage done to just win every single round, dude. Give me Eduardo Mora to win this via decision. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, I think Lauren Murphy coming in, 42 years old, as you said, more than a year off of competition? What, almost 2 years off?
Dude, 2.5 ever since the Andrade fight.
Yeah, that's crazy to have just a kind of a random comeback like that out of nowhere, where I think Eduardo Mora, who, she's been a little bit more active, fought, pretty good level of competition and has fared well against, the competition so far. Lauren Murphy looked rough in her last fight. I'm not saying Eduardo Mora is like just some type of marauder by any means, but she definitely got a physicality that she brings with her game that I think that, clinch control, as you said, a couple pop shots here and there. It will be your PBF. And I think this fight will be pretty slow, but Eduardo Mora gets it done by decision.
All right, me and Dero's both on Eduardo Mora. Moving on to the next one, we got Chidi and Joe Kawani. Bang, bang, taking on the Celtic Kid, Jake Matthews. Jake Matthews is 21-7 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins and 2 losses. Lost to Semi the Jedi. Win over Darius Flowers. Beast mode. Marshawn Lynch. Anyway, he did lose to Michael Morales via decision. He does have a win over Phil Rowe a year and a month ago, and then 4 months ago, a win over Francisco Prado. Jake Matthews, 30 years old, 5'11", 73-inch reach. While Chidi Bang Bang and Joe Kawani, 25-10 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 1-3, lost 2. Split decision loss over Albert Duraev. Got knocked out by Mikhail Olszejczuk. Then moved down to 170 pounds. Split decision win over Reese McKee. Decision win over Jared Gooden and Elijah Zaleski dos Santos knockout 3 months ago. Chidi's 36 years old, 6'3", and the 80-inch reach. Yeah, a couple things here, D-Rose. Chidi missed weight in his last fight by a few pounds. He's only fought so. D-Rose, have you heard Chidi before the UFC?
I saw some of his Bellator stuff, but I wasn't
his last fight at 170, dude, was when his voice started sounding like that. And apparently the weight cut caused his voice to sound like that, man. Oh, so wow. He didn't used to sound like that. And then his last fight at 170, so he had a bad fucking weight cut, and something happened in that fucking voice, and it's changed like that. And then he fucking moved up to 185, got signed by the UFC, and said that he would never fight 170 again. He's 36 years old now, and he's fighting 170 again. He's cut weight, made it 2 times, but he missed it this last time, dude. I'm gonna be honest, dude. I'm worried that Chidi makes this weight for one. Just because 36, big guy, dude, already had issues before. And the gas tank, if he does make it, dude, because down at 170, he's just kind of been holding these dudes up against the fence. And that's kind of been his way of winning outside of the Elijah fight. But once again, missed weight by fucking 2 or 3 pounds in that. So what do you did you really try to cut those last extra pounds? So a tough fight for me, because if Jake Matthews was to go in here and shoot takedowns, I would have no problem picking him easily, dude. The issue is that's not Jake Matthews' game plan. He wants to come in here and, throw some bombs. He wants to swing. He wants to bang it out. The issue is that he doesn't really have the best chin in the world. Doesn't really get flatlined and knocked out, but he is getting hurt quite often, man. So I truly see this going either Chidi knockout pretty early, Chidi control decision, or we end up getting a Jake Matthews submission, dude. Oh man, I'm torn here. I think I'm gonna end up going with Chidi via decision, man. I did not have a pick before right now, and I think I'm gonna go Chidi via decision. Odds for the fight are currently Jake Matthews plus 124, Chidi is minus 148. So not too far apart, man. Close fight. I could really truly see in this fight go either way. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, I think this is a super close fight. Both guys definitely have a case to win. You look at Jake Matthews; he's got
I don't
good
know,
boxing.
Antoine.
Yeah, I don't know about in his prime, but yeah, I don't know about that. But no, I mean Chitty's still a dangerous striker. He's got those nasty knees. He's got that Muay Thai style. Jake Matthews, good boxer. He can transition that to some of his wrestling as well, and got a lot of UFC experience. And Jake Matthews has been in the UFC. I know I say it every time, but gosh, he's been in the UFC
since he was 10.
Since at least since 2002. Like at least since 2002. It feels like Jake Matthews has been in the UFC. So just absolutely crazy. But I think for me, Chitty is a good striker, a great striker actually. Pretty good takedown defense. But I think
this is the Jake Matthews full potential, Antoine.
Yeah, I think once Chitty hits the ground is where it's trouble. And I think if you look at a guy similar style, similar body type, and Phil Rowe, Jake Matthews was able to have success with the takedowns as well, able to pick Phil Rowe up a couple of times and throw him down. Where I think Chitty and Jaquani can have kind of the same body type, and Jake Matthews can have some of the same success. Give me Jake Matthews here by decision, man. I like that Matthews to get it done. UFC vet, more experience than Chitty, and I think more ways to win. So yeah, give me Jake Matthews by decision.
Yeah, man. Rose, from this point on, I'm not gonna hate any of your picks, dude, because I think I already have like 3 or 4 parlays, and I know I have fucking Jake Matthews bet. Let's see here. Yep, Fatima Klein, Mike Davis, Walter Walker, Eduardo Mora, Jake Matthews, and then I'm not going to tell you the rest. But yeah, I already have fucking Jake Matthews bet. It's just, dude, I could really see this fight going both ways. It's just this whole card is kind of like that, dude. Like every single fight, like on the card, like I could make a case for either fighter to have a path to victory, except for the first fight of the night. Fatima Klein's won't win in that fight. Anyway, so me and D-Rose split on Chidi versus Jake Matthews. So we'll move on to the next one, which is the action man, Chris Curtis, taking on Max Payne Griffin. D-Rose, your guy finally made the right decision, dude. How long has it been? How long has he been in the UFC now that we have noticed that he has been way too small for 185? And being someone that has fought down at 170 before, what are you doing here? Anyway, someone finally told him the right thing to do, got in his ear. Maybe he just pulled his own head out of his ass. I don't know, decided, hey, I need to cut this weight. Anyway, Max Payne Griffin taking on Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis moving down to 170 pounds after his last fight. His first finish knockout, dude. He got head kicked by Roman Kapilov. Was it a little bit early? Maybe, but maybe that was the eye-opener that he needed. He's now 37 years old, 5'10", and a 75-inch reach, while Max Payne Griffin's 20-11 out of his last 5 fights, alternating wins and loss. Lost to Mike Chiesa, win over Jeremiah Wells, lost to Michael Morales, win over Tim Means, and a loss to Neil Magny. Max Payne Griffin's 39 years old, 5'11", and a 76-inch reach. D-Rose, I am going to be completely honest with you. Once again, this shit could go either way because who the fuck knows how Chris Curtis is going to look down at 185. All we really have to go off of is how he fought at 185 pounds. So if I look at the closest matchup to what it was, I think it's probably the Jack Hermanson fight, where Jack Hermanson was able to just stay on the outside, pick and poke, and just move all 3 rounds. just not stay in the middle and throw with Chris Curtis, which that's what Chris Curtis wants. He's going to be mad at you when you don't stand in the middle of the octagon and fucking bang with him, but that's not smart. So give me Max Payne Griffin to have a solid game plan, come out here, pick and poke at Chris Curtis all 3 rounds and win this fight via decision, just like Jack Hermanson. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, I think this is a fight that can go both ways. You know, both guys have a lot of talent, and I think Chris Curtis is a guy. I think it's about 3 years too late to make the move down to 170. You know, he's been a guy who obviously has shown some flashes at 185, and you know, he comes in and gets a big win against Phil Hawes, who was still a hype prospect at that time, and then he gets a big win against Brendan Allen, another hype prospect at that time. You know, I guess that's what made him stick around at 185. But you know, after you had your Nasruddin evolves and you know, after you had a couple of those fights, it's like, okay, man, you need to go ahead and make the move down to 170. You know, good fighter, good boxer, good takedown defense. I think Max Griffin is a guy, you know, he's a good wrestle boxer type of guy. I think the biggest difference in the breakdown is, you know, Max Griffin, you know, as you said, he, you know, or I'm sorry, Chris Curtis, you know, he's a boxer type, and he will get upset at you if you do not stand in the middle and throw with him. But I do think that
why I oughta
yeah, the step is crazy with the flip-flops on. That's even more wild. I mean, I'm a man who wears flip-flops myself, but you can't get overly aggressive with someone wearing flip-flops, dude. Like there's just no way. But yeah, I think the biggest difference in me in the breakdown is Chris Curtis, better boxer of the two. I think Max Griffin is a guy, he can't fight well unless he's going forward, just because of his style. Like if he's going backwards, he's losing the fight. In my opinion, Max Griffin is. And I think that's where Chris Curtis gets it done, is where they kind of meet in the middle. Chris Curtis is the better boxer, good 1-2, snappy jab. And Max Griffin does not wear pain well at all. Like I know his nickname is Pain, but his face, all that scar tissue, like it could be Scar, just because all the scar tissue on his face, dude, he does not wear damage well like he used to. And I think Chris Curtis can put it on him. Let's go Chris Curtis by decision. I think it'll be a pretty fun fight. But I think Chris Curtis bangs him up, and at the end of the fight, we know who won.
All right. D-Rose, odds for the fight, -325 for Chris Curtis, +260 for Max Payne Griffin.
Wow. That's way too big. Way too big.
Well, like, I'm like, what? Like, what? Like, do we even know that Chris Curtis is going to make weight?
But yeah, that's way. That's way. I don't think there's a problem with Chris Curtis making weight because he's not a big dude. But I just think, yeah, that's way too big odds in my opinion.
No, I mean, but that's just like a whole bunch of fights on this card already. Odds already completely fucking shot, dude. It's like, what are we doing here? All right, dude. Moving on to the next one. Drum roll, please.
Your favorite.
Our guy, Junior Tafa, moving down. Finally, dude, to light heavyweight, taking on Tuco Tokos. Junior Tafa 6-3 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 2 wins and 3 losses. Loss to Muhammad Usman. He knocked out Parker Porter, though, you know. That's good. Lost to Pays Out. Lost to Walter Walker 10 months ago. And then does have a win over who? Sean Sharif. Whoever the fuck that is. Anyway, Junior Tafa.
I didn't even know he got a win since then. That's great.
28 years old, 6'3", and a 72-inch reach. While Tuco Tokos, 10-5 overall. Out of his last 2 UFC fights, he got submitted by Umar C and then went to decision with Navajo Sterling. He is 35 years old, 6'4", and a 76-inch reach. D-Rose. And I'm going to be completely honest. I've done no fight research on this fight, and I will not be doing any fight research on this fight because what is there to research? What are we doing? Like, what are we looking up here? How Junior Tafa fights? No point. I'm just going to fade him because he's bad. Give me Tuco Tokos to win this fight via decision. Probably take down Junior Tafa all 3 rounds and just set on him because why not? What else is he going to do? Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the lines are close. And as you said, this is a move that
What
Junior
is the
Tapa
line?
has needed to do for
Minus
a while
166 for Tafa, plus 140 Tokos. Yeah.
Yeah. Surprising that the odds are even that far apart. To be honest, I think it should be more of a minus 105 across the board, but minus 110. But yeah, Junior Tapa has needed to make this move for a little bit now. Finally made the move, so good for him. I think
Have you seen Tafa this week yet?
What's that?
Have you seen Tafa this week yet?
He's sneaky. I don't want to say abs, but pretty good shape. Pretty good shape. Yeah, no, he's in pretty decent shape. So yeah,
Let's
can't knock him there. Looks pretty decent compared to what he looked in the past. I think Tafa gets it done, man. Let's go. And the only way he gets it done is a first round knockout. So give me Junior Tafa here to get it done. I think he lands a big shot. Yeah, he's going to be a pretty fast guy in there for the most part. Tukos is a guy who looks like Tukos is the guy who looked like he struggled with the speed against Sterling. And Junior Tafa, even at heavyweight, was pretty quick with his hands. So I think land a big shot and gets him out of there. Let's go Tafa first round KO.
Fair enough. Look at the difference.
Yeah, no, he looks good, man.
Don't look like he lost too much weight though.
No, he just kind of toned up a little bit. Really, I mean, he was walking around at 240 versus I'm sure right there he's probably 220ish. Cutting down a little bit, but he's starting to tone everything up and starting to clean up a little bit, man. It looks good on him, and hopefully this could be a successful move for him because when him and his brother Justin when they fight and they have some success, they can have some fun and have some fun fights. So I'm as long as they can have some fun performances, I'm definitely want to watch them fight.
All right, so you're going Tafa
first round KO.
All right, fair enough. Moving on to the next one, we have Vitor Petrino taking on Austin Lane. Vitor Petrino is 11-2 overall out of his last 5 fights. He is 3 wins and 2 losses. Lost to Anthony Smith a guillotine choke a year and a month ago, and then got absolutely snoozed by Dustin Jacoby 6 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. That was one that I picked.
Yep, indeed it was. Vitor Petrino is 27 years old, 6'2", and a 77.5-inch reach, while Austin Lane is 13-6 overall out of his last 5 fights. He has a eye poke, no contest, a loss to Justin Tafa, a loss to Janata Janice. He did beat Robelos de Spain by wrestling him, and then he did get knocked out by Mario Pinto 3 months ago. He is 37 years old, 6'6", and an 80-inch reach. D-Rose, the odds for this fight are currently minus 750 Vitor Petrino, and Austin Lane is plus 525. Moving up to heavyweight, D-Rose, why is Vitor Petrino such a huge favorite?
People tend to love him as a big favorite, man, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, give me the giant dude. Is it me or does Austin Lane have the worst hair in the UFC, dude? His dreads is just like one big log on the top of his head that just kind of flops around.
I thought it was just like I thought he had it tied like a honeycomb type.
I don't know, dude. It's just like one big dread, and I'm like, dude, that has to be like the most uncomfortable thing. Like you could probably hit someone with it, like whop them with it. It's like a baseball bat. You could probably hit them with, but yeah, I'm not sold on Vitor Petrino, especially at heavyweight, dude. I think he's maybe trying to make the move, thinking that he might do better at heavyweight, but he doesn't have the skill set of a Jelton Almeida. Like, if I could compare Vitor Petrino to someone, it's kind of like Apollo Costa, dude. He don't really have that one hit quitter, kind of like a thudding power dude that just kind of wants to overwhelm you. And he's going up to heavyweight. He will be the smaller guy here for sure by 4 inches in height, and he's going to have a reach disadvantage too by 3 inches, dude. Yeah, give me Austin Lane to just wrestle Vitor Petrino, take him down all 3 rounds, or maybe even just stay at distance and just stick a jab on him all 3 rounds. But give me Austin Lane to win this fight, dude. Another big dog for me. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, this is tough for me to pick because trying to hold back you on there. Vitor Petrino is the guy who I've never been confident in picking that guy at all, and I've always had questions about hey, the guy's big, he's a powerhouse, but does he really have the cardio? And is he really chinny? And things like that. But in Austin Lane, a guy who we know is chinny, and we know who also has bad cardio too. So it's almost like 2 guys who I just cannot find a way to pick to win have decided to fight to make me pick one of them win. So yeah, that's more how I
happens
feel
to me all the time, man. Like 2 people are like, man, I don't want to pick. Like Honey Barcelos, Cody Garbrandt. Man, I don't want to pick this fucking fight.
No, no, it might have been Khalil and Jamal Hill, where you were like, I don't really care what happens in this fight.
Too, dude.
Yeah,
like,
this is how I feel about that fight. Like, I don't really care what happens in this fight, but gun to my head, Austin Lane just gets hit a little bit too much. Terrible cardio. We saw him fight Jonathan Janice. He had success in the wrestling in the first round and absolutely gassed himself, and then got clubbed in the second round and got put out. I think this fight goes similar. I think he has a little bit of success with the wrestling, but he tries to hold Vitor Petrino down and ends up getting tired out. Austin Lane does, and then Vitor Petrino gets up, lands a big left hook, and gets Austin Lane out of there. Let's go second round knockout for Vitor Petrino.
All right, D-Rose on Vitor Petrino. Moving on up, we got Nate the Train in the UFC, baby. Going to be taking on the last pirate, Morgan Charrier. I heard of somebody, was it Uncle Weezy earlier? Possibly. He said, Nate the Train is not going to lose in his hometown to the last butt pirate, this Frenchman. Dude, I fucking lost it. Anyway, getting into this fight, we got Nate the Train is 18-6 overall out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses, win over David Onama, win over Austin Lingo, did lose to Danny Gay, win over Jamal Emers, and then did lose to Duho Choi 6 months ago. Anyway, Nate the Train's 37 years old, 5'9" and a 72-inch reach, while the last pirate, Morgan Charrier, is 20-11-1 overall. It's fine as UFC fights. That one don't count. Split decision, dude. I think Morgan Charrier won this fight against fucking Chepe. I'm just going to be completely honest. He did beat Gabriel Miranda, but who doesn't if it goes past the first round? And then he did lose to Nathaniel Wood 3 months ago, and it burned all of us. Yeah, you, me, and everyone else that thought that he had the tools to beat Nathaniel Wood. Anyway, he is 29 years old, 5'8", and a 69-inch reach. And D-Rose, before I, say anything else, if you don't beat Nate the Train, he's probably going to win. And that's what we are going to happen. That's what I'm picking to happen, because I'm not picking against Nate the Train in the UFC, especially in his hometown of Tennessee, baby. Clarksville, Tennessee, stand up. Nashville's close enough by. Nate the Train in the UFC is going to get it done. Guess how he's going to get it done? With the 3rd round knockout, because he's going to come out here and absolutely fucking break this Frenchman. We get, hell yeah, USA in this house. You didn't think Nate the Train was going to lose to a Frenchman in his hometown, did you? Which way are you going, D-Rose?
This is it's definitely a tough fight. And honestly, a big part of it is that Morgan Charrier having that performance against Nathaniel Wood.
Plus 220 Nate Landwehr, minus 270 for Morgan Charrier.
Yeah, for Charrier to have that performance in his last fight against Nathaniel Wood, as you know, he was one of my most confident picks. I had round 3 decision and a lot of my best that week, and he kind of crapped the bed. So pretty disappointing performance. But I will say for Nate Landwehr, going into the last fight with Duho Choi, I was pretty excited because I was like, man, this is gonna be a knockdown, drag out war.
Nope, Duho Choi just wrestled him.
Dominated that fight and dominated with the wrestling, which was the surprising part. Morgan Charrier can kind of have that bag in there every now and then. His biggest thing for me is the cardio is what's going to concern me. I'm not going to be betting on this fight, and there's probably not going to be a good chance that I put this in the big champ. But I'm going to go Morgan Charrier here by decision. I just think that he probably ends up using his size because he's going to be a good deal more muscular than Nate Langware. Nate Langware's just got that dog in him. He's just not going to go anywhere. But I think Morgan Charrier, as long as he can get the takedowns pretty effectively, I think he gets it done by decision.
Have you ever picked Nate the Train?
I don't think so. I'm telling you, dude, him losing to Herbert Burns has like forever scarred me. Like I know, look, whatever, cool. Yeah, I have not been able to pick him because I'm like, man, he's a fun fighter. You know, I can acknowledge all that stuff,
dude.
But yeah,
like,
you lost by KO to Herbert Burns. I will never let you live it down.
Dude, top 3 pound for pound. Most exciting fighter in the UFC, dude. He's got to be top 3. Is there like it's like Yuri Prochazka, Nate the Train Landwehr, and I don't know, dude, but just these fighters just get me fucking going, dude. If I could take that, the adrenaline that I have during those fights and just inject it into myself, dude, I would probably never sleep. I would just be wide open all of the time, dude. I fucking love Nate the Train.
I mean, he brings the energy. He definitely does. Of course, his Octagon interviews are always exciting. You got to be ready for him at all costs.
Dude,
but just because he's exciting doesn't mean
if this goes to the scorecards, imagine being the judge that picks Morgan Charrier to win the fight and robs the crowd of a Nate the Train post-fight speech, dude. They're going to have to get escorted out of the arena because the crowd might fucking take them out, dude.
That's not what they're supposed to be concerned with. They're supposed to be concerned with picking winners and losers, okay?
Well, they better be concerned with their life if they pick Morgan Charrier to win this fight after this fight's over with, dude. Yeah, I love me some Nate the Train. If you don't beat him, he's going to win.
Well said, Chris Little.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So me and D-Rose split on that one again. Dude, we're going to be fucking split on the whole damn card.
Pretty much.
Feature fight of the night. We have Mean Machine, Steve Garcia taking on Calvin Kattar. I'm not going to call him the Boston finisher. I've never heard him be called that before. Anyway, Calvin Kattar's lost his last 4 fights. Split decision loss to Josh Emmett. Blew his knee out against Arnold Allen. Got wrestled by Aljo. And then this fight 4 months ago is the one where I famously said after the fight that Yusuf Zalal is a weenie. Like the first round was cool. The first round in 2 minutes, like, all right, Yusuf Zalal is doing the damn thing. But then past that, I was like, hey, quit running. You have to do something besides run away. And that way I just called Yusuf Zalal a big weenie in that 3rd round with Calvin Kattar was chasing him around the octagon. Anyway, Calvin Kattar's 37 years old, 5'11" and a 72-inch reach. Also training at TriStar now. I don't know why it's still got New England Cartel there. Mean Machine, Steve Garcia, 17-5 overall. Man, 5-0 out of his last 5, and I believe 5 first-round kills, right?
Yeah.
We got Chase Hooper, first-round kill. Shaolin Norton-Becky, first-round kill. Mazikio Costa, first-round kill. Sungwoo Choi, first-round kill. And then Kyle Nelson, first-round kill, dude. Just killing all these fools. Mean Machine's 33 years old, 6 foot, and a 73-inch reach. D-Rose, when this fight popped up on my radar earlier in the week, when I say earlier in the week, like today's not Tuesday right now, but I'm trying to figure out who do I pick to win this fight, dude. And the more I think about it, odds are plus 105 Calvin Kattar, minus 125 for Steve Garcia. And then I look over to the left just a little bit on DK, and I see the under at plus 114. I'm like, why am I trying to pick who's going to win? Just fucking pick the under, dude. And that's the way I will be going, dude, because, dude, Steve Garcia goes in the octagon, literally sprints to the middle, pulls his pants down, pulls his dick out, and says, come on, let's bring it. That's exactly how Steve Garcia fights. Just ready to throw his dick, dude. It's just absolutely nuts. And that's how all of his fights are going to go every single time. On the other hand, we have Calvin Kattar, never been knocked out, never been dropped. Like he I guess in theory he has been knocked out, but it was a knee injury, TKO. Never been dropped, never been knocked out, and got all those punches laid on him by Max Holloway. So he's got a chin. My thing is like Steve Garcia does not really have a chin. He's going to go in there with reckless abandonment and throw. And Calvin Kattar, although he does get hit, as I said, never been dropped and has heat to throw back. Just look at the Shane Burgos fight. That shit went to war, and then he put Shane Burgos out cold, dude. So this fight could go either way. I'm going the under, but I think Calvin Kattar gets it done, man. I think 6 kills in a row does not come. I think we see a let's go late first round knockout from Calvin Kattar, man. Which way you going, brother?
Yeah, I think this would be a fun fight. And I mean, that over-under line, that's not a bad line to look at. But I think for me personally, for Calvin Kattar, Calvin Kattar had one of the more, I think Antoine's alluding to it here too. Man, that Giga Chikadze performance, dude, I remember he put the similar beating on Giga that Max put on Calvin. Like, that's how bad of a beating that Calvin had put on him. But it seemed like Calvin hadn't been able to get right since. And a big part of it too, where he's been exposed in his last couple of fights, is with the wrestling. Calvin Kattar, a guy that I don't know why, but I just fancied as like a good takedown defense type of guy. Getting taken down a lot and getting controlled for a good portion of the fights, where I think that's where Steve Garcia, as long as he can play it smart, because his big thing is he's not
going to have any game plan. So I don't know what you're talking about playing it smart. I told you what was going to happen. He's going to go in there, pull down his pants, and pull out his dick like, come on.
Yeah.
Let's fucking
like Steve Garcia walks around with his pants unzipped, just ready to whip it out.
Right? He don't even wear pants. He just walks around holding his dick, ready to swing it, dude.
He just walks around ready to swing that thing at all times. So I am with you, but I think a little bit more of a measured approach. You use the wrestling and maybe even get you a ground and pound stoppage, similar to how you got Kyle Nelson last time. But I think Steve Garcia gets it done. I'm going to say by decision, because Calvin Kattar is just way too tough to finish. But I think Steve Garcia gets it done with the wrestling, though. I think a lot of ground and pound. And it's going to be, Calvin Kattar trying to escape a lot of it. But I think, I think Garcia gets it done. I'm going to go by decision.
Oh, man, I'm going the under. I'm not, dude. I will truly be surprised if this gets out of the first round. just by how Steve Garcia fights. It's like no game plan, caution to the wind, fuck all. Anyway, co-main event of the evening, we got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson taking on Maheta Gabriel Bonfim. Stephen Thompson is 17-8-1 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 4 losses, 1 win. Lost to Gilbert Burns, lost to Bilal Muhammad. He does have a win over Kevin Holland, where he's the only person to, in theory, knock Kevin Holland out, I guess, with a broken hand. Anyway, he did lose to Shavkat via rear naked choke, and Joaquin Buckley knocked him out 8 months ago. But Wonderboy was looking good that whole fight until that shot landed. Wonderboy's 42 years old, 6 foot, and a 75-inch reach, while Gabriel Bonfim, 17-1 overall. Of his last 5 fights, 4 wins, 1 loss. Munir Lazez submission win. Trevin Giles submission win. Got cooked by Nicholas Dalby in the second round. Ange Lusa decision win, and then Chaos Williams submission win 4 months ago. Bonfim's 27 years old, 6'1", and a 72-inch reach. D-Rose, I'm pretty tired, dude. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm gonna keep it short. I'm gonna go Wonderboy to win this fight via decision. Just because Wonderboy still looks like he's still moving good, picking and poking good. He usually has solid takedown defense. I am worried about that a little bit here, but if Bonfim can't track Wonder Boy down in this big octagon, I don't think he's going to get his hands on him. And he's going to get maybe frustrated. And, if you get cooked by Nicholas Dalby in the second round, dude, I think Wonder Boy can beat you by decision. So currently odds for this fight are Gabriel Bonfim minus 410, Wonder Boy plus 320, over unders 2.5. The over is minus 105, the under minus 125. I'm going to Wonder Boy via decision. How about you, D-Rose?
Yeah, this is one that, it's tough for me. I'm not a guy who picks Gabriel Bonfim, especially since the Nicholas Dalby fight. But I think I picked against him actually both times since then, and he's won both of them. So you would think, like, after a while, when am I going to stop picking against him? I think now. Yeah, I think I'll actually decide now, because I do think that Stephen Thompson has good initial takedown defense, but I think, guys like Shavkat and guys like that have shown that you can get him down to the ground after a while. And I think Gabriel Bonfim is a guy who has pretty decent boxing. And, Stephen Thompson still moves around pretty well, but just not nearly as quick as he used to. Hence him getting caught by Shavkat in the submission and getting caught by Joaquin Buckley up against the fence. He just doesn't move quite as well as he used to back then. I think that's going to get him caught here. I'm going to go Gabriel Bonfim submission round 2.
All right. Well, we basically have a different pick in every fight on this card.
Damn near. At least the main card.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 different picks on the 12 fight card so far. And we're going to move into the main event of Derek the Black Beast Lewis taking on Taliesin Teixeira. Before we get started, I already have a few bets on Taliesin Teixeira from, I think, Sunday night. But, man, the more I think about this fight, let's get into it. Derek Lewis is 28-12 overall, 40 years old, 6'3" and a 79-inch reach. Out of his last 5 fights, 3 losses, 2 wins. Lost to Sergey Pavlovich. A little early stoppage there, not going to lie. Lost to Sergey Spivak. Flying knee over Pezao. Did lose to Jelton Almeida via decision, and then knock out Rodrigo Nascimento a year ago. On the other hand, Taliesin Teixeira is 8-0, undefeated. He did have a knockout win over Justin Tafa 4 months ago, but that's his best win ever because came off the Contender Series before that. He's only 25 years old, 6'7" and a 73-inch reach. Yeah, D Rose, this is for me. I do have Taliesin Teixeira already, parlayed up money line, but now that I've actually, thought about it, looked into it a little bit, the best person that Taliesin Teixeira has ever beat is literally Justin Tafa. And, I know Tafa's your boy, D Rose. The Tafas aren't my kind of guys for some reason. I just don't like to pick them ever. Their fucking skill set is so shitty. If Derek Lewis and Justin Tafa got matched up right now, would fucking Derek Lewis not be like minus 300 favorite?
Possibly.
Yeah, so it's like, and the odds for Taliesin versus Tafa last time was like, minus 200 plus 180, something like that. So it wasn't even too wide. I actually think I picked Taliesin. No, actually, I picked Justin Tafa to beat Taliesin just because I wasn't sold on him. So if I picked Justin Tafa to beat Taliesin Teixeira, never been out of the first round. All of his wins are like in the first minute of the first round. What happens after? What happens after the first minute? What happens when 2 minutes roll by? 3 minutes rolls by? What happens when that horn goes, meh, and then Derek Lewis gets up and then he sees you like gassing, and he's good because Derek Lewis has multiple round 2 knockouts. I'm going to go back to it again this week, D-Rose. Let's go let's go Derek Lewis, second round knockout over Taliesin Teixeira.
I thought you were going to say D Rose with the first round knockout. Man, I was about to get pumped up here. Honestly, I couldn't have broke it down much better. Really, I'll just say the same thing. Just
Okay.
Teixeira, hadn't seen him out of the first round yet, and I think Derek Lewis is a guy you're not going to put away easy. And if you're going to go in there, try to get into a gunfight with Derek Lewis, good luck. But yeah, I think Derek Lewis is going to weather the storm in the first round from Teixeira, a guy who has not gotten out of the first round and gets a second round knockout. I think maybe even like a Derek Lewis gets a takedown and goes for some ground and pound. But let's go.
He's been getting
Derek
a little
Lewis.
sneaky with like the trips lately too, huh?
Yeah, pretty sneaky. Takedowns, and man, Derek Lewis, like, people don't think about it because he's a heavyweight and he's Derek Lewis, a guy who doesn't like to wrestle. Him and Jared Cannonier probably have the best ground and pound that I've ever seen. Like, when they have a dude on the ground and they're landing punches, like,
dude, when the person's pinned up against the fence on like one knee, and that's Derek Lewis is like, that's his spot right there. Like one knee pinned up against the fence.
Yeah, and Derek Lewis has you pinned up against the fence and you're trying to get up, like you're on one knee looking to get up, like Derek Lewis is going to continue throwing bombs. Or one of his favorite positions is like when he ends up kind of like having a guy hurt and he kind of puts that like knee on chest, where he kind of just like posts up. He has like one hand on the shoulder and his knee on his chest, just raining down right hands. Derek Lewis has some brutal ground and pound, man, and I think he can get it done second round TKO.
All right. Looks like me and D Rose both on Derek Lewis. All right. Antoine wants a scan of 318 real quick before we get out of here. Let's see here.
It's not a great card from what I've seen.
It's really not. Main event, DP Max. Dude, here is what fucks me up. Co-main event, Paulo Costa, Roman Kapilov. Is that fight even going to happen?
Not.
And then Kevin Holland, D-Rod got added on there right now. And then,
Danny Pitbull.
Yeah.
Michael Johnson, Daniel Zellhuber, which is a pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, yeah, pretty good set of fights. Brendan Allen, Marvin Vittori, they're finally getting to settle that beef. Loke Dog, our guy, versus Kyler Phillips. That's a good fight. Francisco Prado, Nikolai Veretennikov. That's, okay. Atiba Gautier versus Robert Valentine, your guy.
Robert Valentine.
Rob
Zilla. Dude, you know what I am excited for in that fight? Crispy Carly Judy's taking on Nicole Kalari.
Yeah, pretty solid card, but I'm not.
Kyler Phillips versus Vinicius Oliveira's on there.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll talk about it more next week too. But I mean, it's a solid card, but it's not. I'm not gonna go crazy over though.
Mm-hmm. I got you. That's kind of made for fucking DP to retire, yeah.
Yeah. It's. I mean, Dana White even said it. That was for Dustin Poirier. Poirier said he wanted the retirement. He wanted to Louisiana, and Poirier's been one of the biggest stars for a long time, and they respect him. So I actually appreciate that they're willing to do that for Dustin Poirier.
Hell yeah. All right, D-Rose. So the only thing left is pick champ, man. And then fisting of the week.
Let's go Matthews, Chitty, and Njokuani.
All right. That's one.
Let's go Chris Curtis, Max Griffin.
That's two.
And gosh, as much as I hate to do it, let's go
do it. Nate DeTrain and Morgan Charrier. Do it.
No, I'm not doing that one. I don't he's already burned me once. I'm not letting him burn me.
You don't trust the Frenchman. That's why.
Go Vitor Petrino, Austin Lane.
Dude,
that one's chaotic though. So
I mean, to be fair, you do have. Wait, is Chidi the favorite or is Jake Matthews the favorite?
I thought Chidi was the favorite, but
yeah, I don't know.
Might have to go back and look.
Yeah,
I thought Chidi was the favorite.
I know I for sure have two big underdogs in Max Griffin and Austin Lane for sure, like plus 300.
It's like Chidi is like the slight favorite.
Gotcha. So I got coin flip favorite and then 2 plus 300s.
Yep.
All right, cool. Candy Rose finally get the strap back. This week is your chance, D Rose. You have two people that are minus 400. to get the big champ back. Look at you, so nervous. He's like, man, it
I
just
mean, I
ain't
don't know what to do
working.
anymore. If I can't get it off of this, then what am I to do? Like, I mean, there's nothing else I can do at that point.
Yeah. Do we have a backup? Because I don't know if Chris Curtis or Cheaty.
Backup
either one
will
of them can miss.
be. Let's go Kennedy and Walter Walker.
Yeah, I was hoping so. I like that one. I hope so. All right, cool. Well, we got to back up now. So, yeah, in that case, if one falls out, we got one for that. The only thing left now is the fisting of the week, D-Rose. And it's going to be tough because we have a whole bunch of different picks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of the, let's see. Where 12 fights on the card?
I think there's really only 2 picks to be honest.
Oh, let's see.
I mean, it's either Fatima Klein or it's Derek Lewis.
Yeah. Fuck, dude.
I think those are really the 2.
12 fights, and we picked different on 8 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's either got to be Derek Lewis or Fatima Silva, as I like to call her.
Yeah, probably not Fatima. You don't want to do Mike Davis? You don't want to do Mike Davis?
Yeah, dog. I mean, yeah.
You don't want to do Mike Davis?
You didn't pick Mike Davis, did you? Or did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, fuck, dude. Fisting of the week this week's tough. You know what? Let's just do Derek Lewis. We're both on Derek Lewis.
Let's ride.
Derek Lewis, fisting of the week.
Let's go. And it's a dog. Come on, man. We feeling a little antsy here. Come on.
Fisting dog of the week, Derek Lewis to fist Taliesin Teixeira.
Fist dog, baby.
In the second round. That's
fist
that's what I'm picking. I don't know what round it is for D-Rose. Did you guys like the UFC 319 poster? It's one of the best ones in a while. Yeah, it isn't too bad. It isn't too bad. All right, D-Rose, that is about all that we have, man. D-Rose about to be heading over this way in roughly 11 hours or so, hitting the road, coming over to this side of the state, which means that I was going to say Wednesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday, which means Friday I'll be here changing cheddar, but then Saturday me and D-Rose will be live, Fight Companion in studio, or not in studio, at his Airbnb together watching the fights. Yeah, man. Anything else before we get out of here, dude?
No, man. It's been a good pod, and like I said, we're going out there to the beach on the other side of the state tomorrow, and we'll be making some content this Saturday too. So we'll be excited, man. Take the rest of the week off.
Yeah, man. Wow. Yeah, I'll be 30, man. In UFC 400, you'll be 31, Antoine. Man, you're like making me feel old. I don't know how old. When will UFC 400 be, D-Rose?
I mean, I guess it depends on how many events. So, 321 was November? Or I'm sorry, was that October?
Like
so
one
November
a month?
22, December 23. Let's go another 14 events next year.
You're fucking good. What's 84 months? How many years?
7 years.
Okay, so roughly around there, because you got to think if they're around like 320 now, and they usually do about one pay-per-view per month
within the next 6 or 7, because I think they said the UFC does 14 pay-per-views per year. So if they do 14, you gotta shave a little bit off that.
Damn,
time,
dude.
So.
If it's 7 years, your boys, depending on what time of the year it is, your boy will be 40, dude. I'll be 33 this year, dude. Crazy, dude.
Yeah, I'll be 39, getting close to 40. So we'll both be right there, man. Crazy.
Yeah, 7 years to UFC. I mean, I'm sure you meant UFC 400. Yeah, I'll be 40 years old if it's in the November time frame, dude. Absolutely nuts, dude. Just time goes by so fast, dude. We were just talking about that fucking fights on our high school bus. Now we're talking about being fucking 40 years old. What are we doing? what happened? What happened, man?
Appreciate the moment, fellas. Appreciate the moment.
Yeah, Dave said it best. Being old sucks ass. Indeed. Do you guys think fighters on the roster will be around UFC 400 like Josh Van? Yeah, I think the fighters in their younger 20s could be, maybe even like mid 20s right now. But if there's a fighter that's already like 31, 32, that's a big ask unless they're going to be like the fucking Jim Millers or like the Lauren Murphys hanging around. We got Chiwiwi's probably still going to be here. Yep.
Yeah.
But all right, dude. Well, that is it for me. You got anything else before we get out of here, man?
No, man. We are good. Good pod this week, and we'll see y'all in the next coming days.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. With that being said, this was the Golden Octagon MMA podcast number 166. If you guys don't mind, hit that thumbs up button for your boys. If you're not subscribed yet, why are you here? I mean, you're 2 minutes into this live stream and you're not subscribed. What do you do? Are you hate watching us? Well, that don't even make no sense. Subscribe to the Golden Octagon. With that being said, my name is Matt. D Rose is on that cyber screen. We appreciate you guys. Me and him will catch you guys for the live stream Saturday night, but I'll probably do Change of Cheddar Friday. D Rose, you're more than welcome to join me for Change of Cheddar, but I'm not going to hold you down to that or anything like that. You'll be doing family stuff. So with that being said, we'll catch you guys on Saturday. Peace.